I'm going to read first a little bit from this novel I've been writing. And this scene is such that you don't need to know anything about the novel at all to understand what's going on. So, but I do feel like, because I'm a poet maybe, I have to tell you there are actually characters in it, and they do things. And the city is really important to it, and things actually do happen. But in here, stuff happens, but anyway. It's called A complement right now, like AC. So everything outside of A, if you know set theory, that's what it refers to. But it has to change because of Louis. So, we are here to share an investment opportunity with you. Outside light was blocked by the conference room windows' vertical blinds. The blinds, which were white, suggested that the windows ran along the entire wall opposite the only door through which participants and presenters could access the room. Each slat of the vertical blinds was haloed by a golden light, yellow light, giving the impression of a truly beautiful morning happening outside the conference room walls. Although no introductions had been made, there was a general assumption that presenters were present somewhere in the room or just beyond. A line of flitting dust motes, illuminated by the projector, extended from a hole in the wall across from a large white screen. Welcome to the offices of Standard Life Investments by F.F. Hoser and Company. We here at SLY are seriously interested in your life. Your life means something to us. Appearing behind the words flashing on the screen were images the company believed appropriately portrayed life. The first image was of a newborn baby with wisps of black hair wrapped in a soft-as-can-be blue blanket. The blanket's tag was conveniently placed in the exact center of the frame. It read in small font that one would normally not read, thinking the words simply telling the owner how to launder the blanket so as not to ruin its soft-as-can-be-ness. This is only the beginning. We all want your little bundle of joy to have every opportunity in life. Here at SLY by F.F. Hoser and Company, we strive to give you the biggest and best returns for your investment, so your little one will never have to worry. This is the beginning of the rest of her life. The baby with dark, wispy hair and the soft-as-can-be blanket has turned its head a little, opened its eyes, and giggled. The lights to the conference room, which had been only partially off for the multimedia presentation, were turned all the way off. The only light in the room came from the projector and what was presumed to be the sun outside, sneaking in around the vertical blinds. The people in the conference room did not allow any outward sign of an emotional response to register upon their faces. They held their heads straight, eyes focused upon the images and words projected on the screen in front of them, despite the fact that they were all sitting around a conference room table in largely uncomfortable positions. It was almost as if each person in the room could not bring themselves to acknowledge the fact that they had yet to purchase life insurance for themselves or their families, as if they felt such deep shame about having been so lax in the area of family crisis management and preparation that they knew, had they made eye contact with another person in that room and in that same emotional state, it would be robbing them of what little dignity they had left. And so, 43 heads sat rigidly fixed atop 43 bodies, some of which were twisted at 45 to 125-degree angles, eyes trained on the baby, the words, and the perfectly blue and soft blanket that they were about to ensure their babies would be wrapped in for the rest of their lives. Each year, 1 out of every 5 families suddenly comes face to face with an uncertain life after losing their breadwinner. Don't let this happen to you. Images of disaster began to appear on the screen. Car crashes, plane crashes, train crashes, heart attacks at the office, at the gym, in the bedroom, in a hotel room, explosions, fires, floods, acts of war, earthquakes. It took effort for each of those 43 heads not to shift, tear, sniffle, and look away. Still, no eye contact was made. Do not let this happen to you. The lights went up inside the conference room, stunning the red eyes of the participants. The projector slid itself back into the wall and closed itself off. Dazed, the participants were still wary about meeting the eyes of each other. They continued to keep their heads down as their eyes got used to the fluorescent lighting that had invaded the room. It was an abrupt ending. A man in a business suit came into the conference room and handed each participant a packet of 20 to 30 papers, life insurance forms, without breaking the no eye contact rule and without saying a word. After each participant had his or her own packet, the man left through the same door he entered. A woman in a business suit entered with a box of black ink pens. She gave each participant a pen in the same manner that the man had given each participant a packet. She too left the room through the same door she had entered. The participants, heads down, sat unmoving for several minutes, unsure of how to proceed. Then, one participant, who very much resembled the woman who had given each participant a black ink pen, slowly moved his hands to the packet and, very slowly, unsealed the packet. The rate of his breathing did not increase, but his breathing became more audible. Somehow the sound of his breathing gave him both a self-assured and reassuring air. He removed the pages from the envelope and placed them neatly on the conference table. His movement inspired others to follow suit, and soon each participant had the documents before him or herself, head bowed in silent reading. The language on the page was stilted and foreign to the participants who had been lulled into the presentation's simple language of warning. And yet, their inability to comprehend the words before them prevented them even more from raising their heads and making eye contact with one another. The only words they could read were instructional: sign here, date, age of dependent, age of spouse, smoker, non-smoker, former smoker, how long. Not wanting to appear any more foolish than they already felt they appeared to be because of their lack of forward thinking regarding their families and life insurance and saving for the future and their children, each participant kept their head down, turning pages in silence. And after a reasonable amount of time to read 28 pages thoroughly had passed, each participant picked up a black ink pen and signed their name to all the appropriate blank lines. Okay. So I'm going to read a little bit from Fault Tree, which just went to the printer yesterday, I think. So it should be here soon, and it's just as paranoid about groups of people as that is. Except this is a man, one man who's paranoid. I'm not going to say it. Okay. There through time. The flat world is hard for the facing. I walk into things before I know I'm there. I see what I think I see. Engagement takes practice. My hand, outstretched, reaches to touch your hand, also outstretched, but no touch, only air. A person can be a dot. A dot against a background might as well be the background. And you are gone now. A wall, a painting, a kitchen counter, my blind spot. Of course, one could make the argument that you were never there, which is problematic for me, being situated more or less outside of you, who may or may not be there or anywhere. If you exist in the future, then I am chasing you, or just behind. For example, if the placement of clocks takes place prior to the synchronization of clocks, then time cannot be in agreement. However, if clock A is synchronized to clock B, and clock C is synchronized to clock A, and then post-synchronization all clocks are placed, only then will I know if I am chasing you or you are chasing me. Could you maybe shimmer so I can hold a place? Or am I now just mere? Am I now of nothing, or not much of anything? Or am I now a speck of something that was? There through space. For the sake of language, we are not keeping time. A foundation-built counter, the binding of what is perceived is bent, actually is bent, but you won't see it hanging there, drawn. Outside sounds like rain, but is rocks, pebbles hitting bowls of water. We, through definition, stall. Stall is mental poise, two reeds bedded down, the open out of stutter, all lay low, keep still, stand, closed eyes. Then, as now, we cannot see, so cannot be seen. We occur in simultaneity, the aged, the ease. The first to go is time, suspect time, a most specific stall. Time comprehension goes unseen. It does not happen. It has. Today it is never 9:30. I'm not saying this to scare you, but goodbye. First goodbye, and then examine attachment in seconds S, akin to attachment over seconds. If recognition is destroyed, what then of attachment? Whether my body is rigid, stippled, perpendicular, or not, I am a floater. The precision of my rigid body in motion has been mathematically proven to be equal to the accuracy of my body at rest. In this place that is, at this time that is or is not, you will see it as my own tenacious grip on a silver cord. First, though, the snow fell up to 30 inches, melted 10, and then we had ice. My transistor was hemorrhaging, exposed wires bleeding, giving off heat in the form of steam. I'm inclined to say that the wires were bleeding yellow and green ooze, but it was really blood, like any other kind of blood, which is to say it was red. Red. Even better, and this is true, I was opened up and spewing the transistor on the frozen sidewalk in the front of the hospital. This was yesterday. Yesterday I was alive. Today always happens, and so it feels like it never really happens because I'm so well versed in today and how it goes. You wake up or you wake up. Most people wake up. I didn't smoke cigarettes so much as drop them in the ocean. They were rationed to us. The government wanted us lit up so we could light up, which is important when you're being taught to kill or having to think about killing, having been raised not to think or kill. Book 3, Hospital, Etiology of Disease Perception, Relationship to Situational Deaths. An ethics that permits no category of event, not even mortality, to be set apart for special treatment, and that considers there to be nothing more unethical than that we are required to be mortal, shall be called a crisis ethics. Reversible Destiny, Arakawa and Gins. Conductor at rest, ether a current. Arriving at experiment, each standing along a line, one time we are all in agreement that this is fucked, so we assume quantity is what we will be getting. Physicians hand us pills, tiny pink ovals. Our fingers roll them onto our tongues even before we know to ask. A chart dangles, the ceiling tiles. My feelings come between us here. After 90 days of self-induced sleep, I awoke to my phone and computer lines tapped. This I can prove. I found the transmitters and can now discern beeps on the line, signaling the arrival of the robots. They break in on my calls, ask me personal questions. They don't know the answers, I make them up. The company transitioned us into robots. That isn't my blood. This act of breathing is a felony. When I said the word, I felt the word, coming out a little easier, words through the small perforations of my body. Many people are at the bottom of a thing, supporting the top, working against the natural laws of this place for progress. That's how it goes with skyscrapers and words. Before I realized it, what I said was before me. You are probably wondering why. It is so easy for you to believe this, or you should. A saying, monument of one, words became. Remember, we are organic, a compound. Resoundant space particulate. Suffice it to say, each space was made a place of words, and each place was made a container of us. We made it this way. There is no correct order to the incident because time changes depending on where you are standing, and so does place. You would know this if you ever went anywhere. You must move, simply send forth. This is the past, and in the past I'm still alive. We imagine it is of words. If time is the position of hands, simultaneity's body is racked, an imperceptible equating of breath, and outside of words. The I entity so creates escape. Artifacts between us make space. echo, articulation, reflection, light, refraction, lesson. When asked, the present writer speaks silence. When the announcement came through, the orchestra was about to play, and we had to leave. My sustaining wall was outwardly intact, eroding from the innermost parts. These are the incorrect milligrams of horrible invasive. At least you were here. We didn't sleep towards walls, but towards ourselves, and us meant stronger in swoon. It is rank what the company did. There is no recompense, no aid to us, the aged ones. The company is entitled. We set specifics by encryption. Half solved, half public, half truths justify half measures. The company offered a percentage untaxed and in the future, or a percentage taxed and in the now. Time only matters in business. It is the one edge we have. If we can recall that time is actually what we make of it and not what they make us do. Thank you.